Hello and welcome to a Concise webinar presented by myself, Gareth Lane. I'm the founding director at Concise Digital, and Andy from our SEO technical digital marketing department, AI super nerd. Andy, do you want to do an intro?
Hi everyone. Yes, I've been doing SEO and Google Ads with Concise for many years now, and now transitioning to specialize in AI SEO, AI search.
Excellent. And so the plan today is to give you a quick overview without boring you to death with PowerPoint slides about AI search, AI SEO, and what you might want to consider as part of your digital marketing strategy. And if you want to know more, get in contact with one of us afterwards. Over to you, Andy.
Perfect. Welcome everyone. So what you will learn today. Firstly, how AI is fundamentally changing search behavior. It's no longer just search engines and Google search engines. We look at how AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and others find and choose businesses, which I'm sure you're all interested in knowing. And then what Concise is doing so that your brand shows up and our dedicated service that we have built. Okay, so to set the scene here, for the better part of 2 decades, Google has had a 95% monopoly on search. So when you're targeting your customers on search and when they're trying to find you, it's Google search. And the 2 best strategies around that have always been SEO and Google Ads. And search in particular allows you to target the bottom of the sales funnel, whereas other marketing channels, it's quite often high in the sales funnel, and that's why search marketing is so effective. Rankings have been dominated and driven by various on and off page factors. So everyone knows about the on page SEO factors and then the off page factors like backlinks. So AI works a little bit differently, and SEO has always been built around keywords. It's very literal. You want to rank for an exact keyword, and there's very little context and meaning around that, and that's all changing. And the final point is this talk isn't going to discuss paid advertising, but that's probably a future webinar because it is coming. So Google has trialed or is starting to test ads within AI overviews and AI mode, which is Gemini, and that will be, luckily that can just be run from your Google Ads. But OpenAI has famously gone from a not profit to a for profit. So I would expect that paid advertising is coming to other chatbots like ChatGPT.
Yeah, like most things, the AI costs money in power, energy, computing power, marketing, and then of course shareholders want a return. So nothing will be free forever. It's going to be a race to who gets the biggest market share the fastest, and then once they have the market share, then they'll turn on the subscriptions and the advertising, to make some money, just like Google did, just like Facebook did, just like Instagram did, just like Netflix does. The business model is pretty standard, so it's coming.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And the difference there being is that you could run all of your search marketing through the Google Ads platform. In the future, there might be various platforms, so we have to be ready for that. So ChatGPT might have its own ads manager. Yeah. So just some data around what's going on with search. So is Google search over? Is Google Ads over as a strategy? Definitely not. So between 2023 and 2024, Google search grew by over 20%. So it's now at 5 trillion searches a year. So that represents about 1 trillion searches a year in growth. So as of now, Google search is not going anywhere. Your foundation to marketing your business online is definitely SEO and Google Ads. But as you will see, AI is coming. And I think we all sense that it's coming. We feel even anecdotally that it's the future, and it's just better for most queries or for different types of things that you want to search for or to run research on. We all know that, but the data is starting to support that as well. So on this graph here, you can see the black line is traditional search, and what it's tracking is % of desktop devices. So this isn't mobile, it's just desktop, that have at least one visit per month. and you can see traditional search is hovering near 100% for years. And then the desktop users using an AI tool, you can see the chart is up and to the right, so it's growing.
I think if I can add to that as well, Andy, as a personal user, I find that you can get to the answer much quicker, whereas previously, if you wanted to research something, you would have to type in some keywords. You'd then maybe open 3 or 4 websites, maybe read a Wikipedia article, maybe read 2 or 3 things, and you would have to sort of read quite a lot of content on a blog post or a landing page to sort of get an overall summary view. Whereas I find, particularly for research, a majority of the answers now just appear at the top of Google, and there's not perfect, but 9 out of 10, it's quite believable and seems to check out, and you don't even have to click on a website.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like you said, previously you'd have to read everything, and if it was a 2,000 word page, so be it. You'd have to digest all that information and then on to the next source and then try to put it all together. So this is just so much more convenient and easier for users, so it does make sense. And this is another graph that has projected annual visitors by source. So this isn't searches on LLMs. This is website traffic from your sources, say like in GA4, Google Analytics. And they actually predict that by late 2028, that traffic from LLMs will overtake traditional organic search. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. But even if it's a few years later than that, I think the trend is pretty clear. That's where it's going. Okay, so the overall AI SEO, there's a lot of acronyms involved that you might have heard of, such as AEO, which is Answer Engine Optimization. So that's AI overviews that you would have seen at the top of Google. There's Generative Engine, which is like a ChatGPT. The industry is moving towards a standard, and it sounds like AI SEO is the term to use, so that's what we'll use from now on. So if you do hear some of the other acronyms, they basically fall under the whole umbrella of AI SEO. One thing is that it does build from a strong SEO foundation. Previously, say ChatGPT, an earlier model, it would have training data, so it wouldn't know about a small startup, but it would know about a larger brand. Nowadays, it does run live Google searches or Bing searches for ChatGPT, and it can find smaller, newer businesses, but you still need to be indexed and ranking somewhere for something. So you can't start from zero from an SEO perspective and then expect ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok to recommend you. But that said, AI does have many unique factors, and then it does require a dedicated strategy and time and effort to optimize for it effectively. So the good news there is you might not be ranking number 1 in Google, you might be number 5, but you can still leverage your page 1 ranking and find advantages through our AI optimization. And therefore you might not win number 1 in Google, but you might get more recommendations by ChatGPT if you follow the factors that we've identified. And overall, this changes how customers find you. So AI is becoming ubiquitous. It will be in everyone's pocket. Everyone will be using AI. I think structurally, it's just different to a search engine. So Google was a winner takes all with its network effect. I feel that there will be multiple winners with AI and not just anyone like a winner takes all. So it could be various models. So that's why I feel we need to have a dedicated strategy for AI that's separate from traditional Google search. Okay, now this is a bit of an illustration about what the AI does. So this is called a query fan out. So you can see in the example here, it's like, what's the best laptop for a college student who needs a long battery life and does some video editing? So straight away from this search query, you can see there's so much more context than there would be in a Google search. What ChatGPT or Gemini will then do is what's called a query fan, and it starts running various web searches on the requirements, passes that data, and then puts it all back together for a response. And you can actually ask the chatbot what query fan it used and what it actually searched to arrive at that response. And that's a really good step at optimization. But what this diagram misses, and what a lot of people in the industry are missing, is that there is an additional step. So for transactional intent, it might find, say, like the top 10 businesses that rank consistently for each of these queries. And then what it will do, it will analyze each of those businesses for trust. So that's first party, like web pages, so their own websites, and then third party mentions. So this is where you can't just look at what ChatGPT searched. You need to be thinking about what is my brand reputation like online, and what is my website doing to communicate to the AI that I should be picked over the others.
Can I add to that, Andy?
Sure.
I think an analogy is, if you imagine asking someone at a barbecue and, you know, your mates is your first point of reference, but then Google wants to go a step further and say, well, I want to ask their mates to then validate what your mate said. So it's two levels of trust rather than just a direct level, because it was too easy in the old days to write whatever you want on your website. Google would rank it. How does it know that it is trustworthy and accurate information? And then it introduced the idea of reviews to then validate businesses. So Google reviews then validate that a business knows what they're doing and does what they say they're going to do. And an AI search is no different, right?
Exactly. Yep. Perfect analogy. Okay. Now, we've had a lot of inquiries about AI overviews, and they generally fall into two buckets. So one is, how do we get into AI overviews? And the other is concerns about drops in organic traffic and click-through rate, with AI overviews ranking for informational intent, resulting in what's called a zero-click search, and then the user not even having to visit the website because they've already got their answer. So we'll just dive into how we approach AI overviews and our impressions. So currently it does appear mostly for informational intent, i.e. questions. 75% of the links are often cited from page 1 in Google results. So it's more of a summary of page 1 rankings. So this is where a strong SEO foundation is critical. And they appear for 84% and 3% are informational and navigational intent. So that's 87% of the time they appear, it's for a question. And only 12% is transactional. This is from a research that was run. I would say commercial intent is somewhere baked into the informational percentage. And only 1% of users actually click on a link. So that's real proof that once the user sees the AI overview, they're no longer enticed or needing to go to the website, and that's why we're seeing a drop in traffic from blog content. Okay, so this is what an AI overview looks like, and you can actually force one most of the time with a question. So who, what, where, why, how. And you can see in this example how to choose a career. It gives you a nice concise summary at the top, highlighted. And then the user quite often can just use this information and then move on. And if you see that the source link is a tiny little link there and throughout, the user interface for this is not driving users to visit the site. It doesn't stand out. There's no image snippet next to it. It's very generic. It's small. And that's another reason why currently they're just not driving a lot of clicks once the AI overview appears. The difference with a GEO or a chatbot optimization is that even if you use transactional search, you will still get an answer no matter what. So an AI overview might only appear if you say how to choose a plumber in Perth. Let's say there was a question posed at the start. But then you put transactional intent like plumber Perth, ChatGPT still gives you an answer. So this is, when we optimize for AI, this is true AI optimization, whereas AI overviews are inconsistent, they don't always appear, and they often only appear for questions. I would say nearly all of Concise's clients are selling products and services and not monetizing attention through blogs, such as like an AdSense model. Okay. So, but you still can optimize for AI overviews. So it's still a good strategy to complement a broader strategy. All we're saying is that if it results in less clicks on blog style content, it's probably not going to move the bottom line. It's definitely it complements your content, and it's like for brand awareness and building it that way. But we are seeing already across businesses a drop in traffic from informational search. Now, the caveat here is that if AI overviews start appearing more often for commercial and transactional intent, so someone ready to buy something, and the user interface improves so that it's driving more traffic and clicks to the site, then AI overviews suddenly become more important. But at the end of the day, if you have really good SEO and you're ranking well, and you're implementing our AI SEO optimizations in terms of like content optimization, you will generally have pretty strong AI overviews as a side effect. So here's an example of an AI overview, how to fix a leaking tab. You can see that the question at the start has forced it to come. And then the links are very small and generic, and ideally you would get your information and then leave. Then if we say we continue down the journey, down the sales funnel to Plumber Perth, and this is more transactional intent, we're looking to book somebody, you will notice that I did not get an AI overview here. Part of the reason I believe is that Google Ads doesn't want AI overviews taking up that top real estate where it could be selling ads. That's part of the reason I feel. That might change, but you can clearly see that once the intent changes, the AI overview doesn't appear. And so my recommendation is until that changes, that just optimizing for answer engines or AI overviews probably should fall second, and something that complements your wider SEO and AI SEO strategies. You can see here with commercial intent, so like best, reviews, those kind of keywords at the start, I still didn't get an AI overview. But if I do best running shoes, I do. So it's very inconsistent, and it's not always going to appear for every type of query. And that's the other issue within AI overviews, is that you can't always force them to appear. You just don't know. Okay. And another example here is when I searched for best SEO software, there was no AI overview. And then this is the example. If you put transactional intent into ChatGPT, it has to go through the query fan and then all the other factors to arrive at the 4 recommendations. So it doesn't really matter what type of intent you put into ChatGPT, you will get an answer. And that's where we're focusing mostly. Because there are factors involved, and that does drive traffic, leads, clicks, all the things that we want from AI, we can do with ChatGPT, Gemini, that we might not be able to do with AI overviews.
Can I just add in there too, Andy? And ChatGPT, while not officially owned by Microsoft, has sort of chosen its marriage, and Bill Gates is one of the primary investors. So no doubt it's very heavily Microsoft contributed to, let's call it that, which is why it probably will want to use Bing. So I wouldn't be surprised, and this is a hunch, that Bing and ChatGPT and Microsoft are trying to have a go at taking over Google as the first place people start when they want to go on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think the AI wars have started, and the search wars have started, and there's a lot of disruption coming to what's been the status quo for 2 decades.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, and then continuing on, we have AI SEO, which some of you might know as GEO, Generative Engine. This is where we're putting a lot of our focus in understanding the factors, because it goes beyond just a page 1 summary of Google results, for example, or Bing results, and having extra steps and extra factors that we have to account for. One thing I've noticed in the industry is when they talk about AI, they very rarely make a distinction between the two, AI overviews and say like chatbots, and they very rarely talk about intent. So intent is critical. So we're not running blog businesses for the most part. We're not monetizing traffic. We are trying to make sales and leads on products and services. So that really does change our strategy around AI. We've been working really hard to optimize for extra factors that are unique to AI search. So in the course of a general SEO audit implementation, so your SEO project, you might get lucky and utilize some of these factors and optimize them, but you probably won't, especially because a mention on a third-party site is analogous to a backlink. Although you don't actually need the hyperlink back anymore, it is literally a positive mention is what the AI favors. So that does change strategy. And because there's more context and meaning, it does change how we adapt our content. And then I guess the biggest clue overall is that AI favors brands that appear more trustworthy, more established, more capable. And it makes sense, right? They're not going to recommend a business that's like a small startup they know nothing about. They're going to recommend the big business because they've been around longer. They're less likely to be a scam or do the wrong thing. And it's just a safer overall recommendation for the user. So part of optimizing for AI is how do we make our business, and many businesses are small to medium businesses, how do we appear larger, more important, and more trustworthy? And that's the real gold in optimizing for AI. And then the final point is SEO as a foundation. AI has to find you from somewhere. You need to be somewhere in page one on Bing or Google for at least one of your keywords. Otherwise, it won't even know who you are from the start. You don't have to be number one for the hardest difficulty keyword. You can go down the difficulty into more specialized niche keywords, but you have to be found somewhere.
Yeah. And of course, all the standard, last 20 years things like making sure your website's updated, not got errors, your phone number works, your email form works, you have a nice smooth e-commerce checkout. If someone calls you, you answer the phone. If someone gives your business a request for a quote, you get back. All of those things still apply because the search engine and the AI bots are learning and watching what that user is doing and how that business is responding, which is what builds those trust signals Andy just mentioned.
Absolutely. Yeah, all the fundamentals still apply. And a good side effect of AI SEO is that there's nothing that you would do. I mean, the risk is, say you put some work into something that didn't get you a mention straight away. It was like a longer lead time on the effect it has as a factor. Pretty much every optimization and recommendation that we have for AI is positive. So it helps your conversion rates, it helps your SEO, it helps the user experience. It gets you more placements on third-party websites. It works at building reviews and mentions. Everything is good overall for your business at the very least. And then the upside is that you start to get more mentions from ChatGPT. Okay, so some of the on-page factors: well-developed and logical content structure. What that means is building out topical depth or topical authority. So for example, you're a dentist. You might just want to rank for Dentist Perth, for example. But with AI, you can find different angles. So you might have emergency dental care, 24/7, dentures, gum disease treatment. You can start to build all these out as categories. So like it's topical depth at a high level category level. Then you can build blog content around that to make yourself appear as an expert in the industry. So for example, you start building topics around what to expect on your first dentist visit, for example. So that's all high level content, which AI loves. AI also loves structure. So even at page level, you've built out a structured page. So good headings, a good opening that explains what the page is about. You work through your various stages of what the page content is. You finalize with FAQs, and then as part of your headings, there's strong versus weak language headings. So Google doesn't really care if you have a button that says start here or our services, but it's much more compelling for AI if you say we've helped 10,000 customers achieve 100% conversion rate over the last 5 years. Something that's really compelling and sells what you do. So if you don't tell AI that, it's not going to know. And although it is first party, it still matters, because a lot of the sources that we look at when we get the result from, say, ChatGPT, it does have website sources, and it is passing these headings and using them as part of its decision in its deciding factors. So there are things that you can do. We can build out results, awards, experience, trust pages. So as we all know, it's critical to have an about us or a contact page on a website. But AI looks even deeper. So if you have pages about careers, investors, media and press inquiries, you just go even further to do things that develop trust that the regular website or most of your competitors aren't even thinking about. And then backing up what you're saying with evidence-backed claims. So linking off to testimonials, linking off to case studies. So you're backing up what you're saying as well. You're not just saying it. So they're the various on-page factors. And in short, if you want to rank in ChatGPT for a product or service, you're going to need to have a landing page. So that's quite logical as well. And then off page. So this is part of, after the query fan, ChatGPT will run a brand analysis to see if you're trustworthy and what people are saying about you. Most small to medium businesses have not fully leveraged these factors. And this is where a lot of the quick wins can come from. Even their reviews can be quite shallow. If someone just leaves a 5-star review with no comment or a 5-star review with great service, that's not really telling the AI much at all. So that's why bigger brands have more reviews, and then it can pick up on sentiment from these reviews when they're more in depth. So they had great customer service. They came to my property early. They, issued a refund straight away. This all builds context that you can leverage if you have enough reviews, and kind of get ahead of the competition. If you can encourage your users and customers to leave more in-depth reviews. And then this all appears on other trusted third-party sites, so press releases, listicles, comparisons. Industry platforms is a good one, and this is unique to every business. One thing you can do is look at what sources the AI used when it came up with an answer, and one of your competitors might have a mention on a certain industry platform. So you can reverse engineer and get onto the same platform, but you can also research new platforms that your competitors haven't thought of that relate to your industry. So we go even deeper than just trying to benchmark what others are doing. And then mentions on Reddit, YouTube, LinkedIn. What happens here is when ChatGPT runs a branded search, these types of pages, you'll notice if you have a mention on Reddit or a YouTube video or you have a LinkedIn page, these types of pages will start to surface in the organic results. And that's where it goes through each one, looks at the index page, crawls it, and then decides what the user is saying about you. So the more mentions you have, the better, and the more positive sentiment you have, the better. The other one is Google Business and directories. So Gemini would have access to Google Business reviews. ChatGPT will hallucinate in a way. Literally had ChatGPT say, I selected this business because it had good Google Business reviews. So then I prompted,
Andy?
Yes?
Sorry, for those, Tom, to interrupt you, sorry, but for those that might not understand what the hallucination comment meant, can you just expand on that?
Okay, so it tries to come up with an answer. It doesn't want to not give you an answer. And the way these models come about is that it's kind of built into them that they will give you information even though it's not correct. It's also known as predicting, which it will do sometimes as well, which is similar to that. So for example, ChatGPT might say a business has really good Google business reviews, and when you ask it for the latest one or how many, it will say, I don't have access to that API. I'm not sure. I could only guess based on what I could see on third-party review sites. So that's one thing we have to be mindful of. There are factors that it will tell you are factors that they're not really. So we've back-tested all the factors that we're building as part of our audit and optimization to make sure that they're not things that are hallucinated or guessed. Okay. And AI does prefer brands that have up-to-date, fresh information. So if your last mention was from 10 years ago on some random website, it's not as powerful as a latest up-to-date mention. Now, measuring success. So one thing that SEO has is Google Keyword Planner for researching keyword volumes. So we use that as part of SEO. And it also has Google Search Console that tells us what users are searching. As of now, there is no public data for that released from Gemini or ChatGPT. So anyone that says that they know what the prompt volumes are, it's incorrect, because right now it's just an estimate. Hopefully it will come, and analytics will come to AI. I expect it will. But right now, the two things that we can do is track real traffic coming in Google Analytics 4, so we can see when users have come from an AI channel. So that's one. The other is using a tool to track brand mentions. So we use a tool called Peak. What we do is we set up the prompts, which is similar to like a keyword, and it tracks them each day. It tells you what your average position is for that prompt, who the competitors are, what the sources were that the AI used, and then we can use that to reverse engineer what competitors are doing and improve our own optimization. And then it basically provides data that we can use as a benchmark and then track over time how we improve our mentions for those prompts. And some people might just start with looking at the sources that the AI used. It's pretty clear from our research that AI goes deeper than that. It might say, hey, I looked at these 3 sites, but really it's looked across many on-page and off-page factors to decide if you're trustworthy or not, that are all calculated in there. So the citation list is very short and it's not telling you the full picture. And that's why we've been working really hard on understanding what the factors are so we can optimize for them. So what this means for your business, as mentioned, we've developed a new service for Concise, which is AI SEO. It begins with an audit and prompt research, mostly using traditional keyword research volumes as a proxy for prompts. We do the audit, we work out what on and off page factors can be optimized and where we sit, and then we tailor a strategy designed for your business, your industry, your competitors, and go from there.
And as always, it's hourly rate billing. We'll only do it if we think it's going to work, and we'll make sure that you are dealing with the person who's going to do the work so that you can share your unique business information with them and develop some relationship. Anything else you want to add to that, Andy?
No, that's great. I think that sums it up well. So next steps is thank you again for watching our webinar. We are booking a one-on-one session to review how this impacts your business. So if you have questions that are specific to your business, or you'd like to discuss this further, we can do that then in the one-on-one session. So I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll talk then.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely afternoon.
Thanks, Gareth. Bye.
Bye.